ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬਾਈਜੂਸ ਦਾ ਝੋਲਾ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਚੱਜ ਦਾ था
should I mute everybody sir? Should I mute everybody sir?
Mute कर दो, mute कर दो.
Features and data. Button.
Yes. Good.
So now we are live on Facebook sir.
Right.
Major Pradeep sir, you can also share from your Facebook in your network.
ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸੁਣਾਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇ ਰਿਹਾ ਜੋ ਉੱਚਾ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਹ ਮੈਂ So Vikas ji, you start the proceedings.
Right sir. Right sir.
I will continue to admit people.
Right sir. Right sir. Good evening everybody. Once again PCMA is glad to welcome you to the 7th part of the series started by PCMA, Education for Meaningful Life. We are very happy and we are glad to share with you that we had a very good response and people like they are waiting for this series every day, like every alternate day when we are like telecasting it over Facebook and through Zoom. So we already had 6 sessions. The earlier sessions we had for these sessions earlier we had Dr. Bishnu Dutt from Delhi University, then Dr. Lakhvinder Singh Ji from Guru Nanak Dev University, then famous poet of Punjab, Mr. Jaswant Jafar, then Professor S.C. Vaid from Punjab University, Chandigarh, Madam Pushpinder Walia, Principal BBK, DAV College, Amritsar. Then we had the known theatre artist, Mr. Nirmal Jawda, and Dr. Stvinder Singh Ji, Pro Vice Chancellor, former Pro Vice Chancellor, Guru Nanak Dev University. Then like in the last session, in the 6th part of this series, we had Mr. Rajesh Badal, like an eminent journalist, like who is known for establishing Aaj Tak channel. And in the same series today, in the 7th part of this series, like I'm glad to share that we have Major Pradeep with us. Major Pradeep, if I start introducing, I think Major Pradeep doesn't need any introduction. He's a great motivational speaker. Major Pradeep Kumar is a national speaker, motivator, coach, trainer, and veteran for the past 30 years. He is passionate about contributing positively and enabling people to excel in their personal and professional journey. A powerful presenter with energetic speaking style, Major Pradeep inspires and motivates participants to produce lasting changes. Major Pradeep is the only person in Punjab State Education Department who has been conducting direct training skills program under the Department of Personnel and Training for Government of India at leading training institutes of India. Major Pradeep has the distinction of serving in Indian Army as Major with active operational service in different war zones of India. He is a qualified commando officer trained in special operations with live exposure as instructor in anti-insurgency operations. He is fond of mountain trekking and river rafting. He has also served in Escorts Yama Limited to gain valuable corporate experience. This wealth of experience enables him to share his rich ideas and experiences with the audience during his sessions, which are very interesting, interactive, and impactful. Major Pradeep has conducted a lot of corporate trainings, outbound workshops like Kane India, National Thermal Power Corporation, Edifax Mohali, Maruti Suzuki Limited, so many I'll take another half an hour to explain what all Major Pradeep is doing for building this nation. He has been conducting a lot of national training skill development programs like direct trainer skills 5-day programs, then HCM like he's associated with Maxipa, he's associated with ATI Kota, Guwahati, Lucknow, Mysore, Nainital, and so many. So we are glad and we are happy to share with you that Major Pradeep, he is with us. He'll share us his thoughts with us that how does he looks at education, how can we make education meaningful, and how does he, उनको कैसा लगता है कि शिक्षा कैसी होनी चाहिए, या वो शिक्षा को कैसे देखते हैं. So like today, Major Pradeep, like from his rich experience, from his vibrant past, he'll share his details. So not taking much of time, now I'll request our President, Shri Ashwini Bhallaji, to formally welcome Major Pradeep and please move the proceedings ahead. Over to Mr. Ashwini Bhallaji, please, sir.
Thank you, Vikas. Now we are in the 7th part of this series, Education for Meaningful Life. And I could see many senior persons have now started joining us to share the dais with us. I could see Dr. Mahinder Kaur Garewal, former principal of Government College for Girls, Ludhiana. I could see Dr. Mahesh Joshi, all the way from RMIT University, Melbourne, and the many other senior people like Dr. Gagandeep Kaur, joining from Government College, Tanda, and many other, Monica Puri ji is there. So Dr. Alpana Agarwal ji is there. So many people are joining daily with us in this series. So I think the society is changing. The senior people has also started thinking that there is a need to change the education system, which was aspired and which was motivated by our gurus. So India has a rich traditions, and I think Punjab is a land where Vedas were there, and Shri Rachna of Guru Granth Sahib Ji was done. So when I read the Guru Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, so there is a one concept that Shabad is the Guru. So the Guru in the form of Shabad modifies human consciousness and elevates to its higher stages of development. Meeting with the Guru's Satguru, one's darkness is dispelled. So when you read Gurbani, you can find that Shri Guru Angad Dev Ji illustrates that water remains confined within the pitcher, but without water, the pitcher could not have been formed. So just so the mind is restrained by spiritual wisdom, but without the Guru, there is no spiritual wisdom. So we have to understand the meaning of the education in the right perspective. We have to see that unless you adopt somebody as Guru and start learning and follow his teachings, you cannot be successful in the life. So education has different meanings and different objectives for a human being. As an individual, the primary aim of education is to lead an individual to self-realization so that the full potential of the person is realized. Similarly, it has the aim of building the strong moral character, physical well-being and strength. Emotional and aesthetic abundance are the aspects which should be the result of meaningful education. So true education is to ensure the all-round development of an individual. In other words, the flowering of all aspects of personality and the development and integration of human personality. So when we come to the social aim of the education, Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji in the page 356 of Shri Guru Granth Sahib has absolutely written Vidya Vichari Ta Paropkari. The education is good which is used for the welfare of the people. So we can explore this phrase as the word Vidya means education, padhai, sikhya, ilm, bodh, vichar, jankari, likhai, padhai, gyan, learning, understanding, study, being acquainted with, cognizance, reading, gaining knowledge, reflections, understanding, exploring, researching, etc. Vichari here means vichar karna, contemplate, reflect, thinking, etc. And when we say paropkari, that means altruistic, selfless, and kind, philanthropic, generous, humanitarian, beneficent, benevolent, etc. It means paropkar is the essence of the knowledge. Unless one practices education, it cannot turn out to be vidya. In Sikhism, the purpose of education is declared to be initiate the person to altruism. A natural outcome of the true education is the service of the humanity through honest means, where possessions are shared, inequalities are bridged, and the discrimination is eliminated. Now we have to think whether we are adopting the education in these perspectives or not. Punjab being the richest land of the world, where all four Vedas were constructed and the Shri Guru Granth Sahib was written here and compiled here in this land. And if you read the Shri Guru Granth Sahib and Vedas, the whole concept of education is absolutely crystal clear. Many countries are adopting the true value of the education in the right perspective, from Shri Guru Granth Sahib and Vedas, but we are forgetting all these. So now it's a time for all of us who are in the field of education and who has the responsibility to give education to our next generation, that we should inculcate the education in such a way that in true sense Vidya Vichari the Paropkari should be realized. So it's a honor for all of us that Major Pradeep, who is a great trainer, and I have the opportunity to get training from him also as a government officer when he used to give training in the Punjab Education Department at Chandigarh. So we learned so many things. A week program I attended, direct trainer skills. So he is very, very passionate about training skills, and he's very, very passionate about education. So I welcome Major Pradeep to you on the forum of Punjab Commerce and Management Education. And I hope your discourse on this platform will be truly meaningful for our participants. Thank you once again. Welcome Dr. Pradeep, and over to Dr. Pradeep now. Sir, kindly unmute.
Please unmute yourself, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Ashwini Bhalla and Dr. Vikasdeep. First of all, I take this opportunity to congratulate the entire team of PCMA for doing a wonderful show. They have been doing a wonderful job for the last almost 2-3 months now. And it's a wonderful platform to share and learn from each other. And once again, Dr. Bhalla, thank you very much for a wonderful introduction, and Dr. Vikasdeep also. They have spoken too many words. I don't think I deserve those, but I humbly would like to contribute my bit in this journey of learning. So this pandemic has given us an opportunity to interact with each other, although nobody wanted it, but it has thrown us an opportunity to learn from each other's experiences. And this topic of education for meaningful life, I believe this thing is something which all of us are related directly as educators and also as human beings. And I imagine that no one will doubt that education at home and at school should help to equip children to lead a meaningful life. Some would say that the aim is to, especially worth emphasizing here, that when there is so much of news about depression, sadness, unhappiness around us, in such a scenario, the meaningfulness becomes even more needy, I believe, more required for everybody's peaceful life, everybody's satisfactory life. So here I would like to go to sharing the screen. Vikasji, I think you will have to allow me share the screen.
Have the rights, please go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. No, I think disable हो रखा है आपकी तरफ से. You are the host.
Okay. Please try it now, sir.
Yeah, so far it is not happening.
Just check, sir.
Yeah, I'm trying. It says host has disabled participants screen.
Just a minute. Is it okay now, sir?
1 second. Yeah, now it's okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, friends, on the the screen, you can see a big tree. And I thought I'll start up with this picture of getting closer to nature. And this tree, I have been able to take this picture because I happened to visit one of the elitist educational institutions of India, that is Shanti Niketan University at near Kolkata. So this picture is taken one of the trees there. And this always, reminds me of the kind of education we used to have in our, olden days. And this is one of the references that takes me to the picture and then relates it with the meaningful life that we can think of. So let us see what education and meaningful life. Yeah, education for a meaningful life. What does it mean? So when you say, basically we relate meaningfulness more to intelligibility. People normally think, okay, whatever is given to us, it should be taken from the intelligence point of view. So everyone will agree that education ought to prepare young minds, young people, rather everyone, to lead a life that is meaningful. But there are different ways in which this notion of meaningfulness can be understood. Meaningfulness is actually a necessary condition of a life of well-being. A condition of life of well-being means something to do with collecting one's reasons for action within this pervasive structures of activity and attachment. That means all that we do in our lives through our various kind of activities, how it relates to our meaningfulness of life. So educating young minds for a meaningful life is worthwhile exercise, worthwhile topic for discussion. And educators should help the students not only to see their lives as meaningful, but also to lead a life that is meaningful. So to me personally, education, what do you mean by the education's meaningfulness? Personally, I believe when I look at this meaningfulness thing and that the system of education that we are having around us, that has prevailed in the past few years or decades now even, I believe this education system is quite incomplete, insufficient, and superficial also. It creates, our system is creating kind of people who can earn their livelihood, but it does not give them any insight into living its life itself, living the life itself. We don't get the real kind of inputs how to live our lives. We are getting a lot of information to earn our livelihood. So here I would like to ask all of you to give your response on what do you think our life, and then what do you think the education is giving us, incomplete or complete exposure to meaningfulness. You can give your responses in the chat box. If you feel that education system today is complete, then you can write C. And if you feel it is incomplete or insufficient, you can write IC. You can give your responses in the chat box, please.
I'm checking chat box for you, sir. Can you see the chat box, sir?
Yeah, I can see it now. So I think it is more of IC. So that gives us a clear-cut picture that we all agree on one thing, that our system today is not sufficiently giving us what we are supposed to get from the system. That is education system I'm talking about. That our education system is not taking us where we are supposed to be taken by this system. So at some stage I start feeling, it is not only incomplete, rather it is harmful also in some ways, because it is based on competition. Our education is providing the students, to the learners, something only preparing them for some kind of a competition in life. And any type of a competition, I'll go back to the share screen now. Okay, thank you. Any type of competition is violent deep down, you see. It is violent deep down. And it creates people who are unloving. The whole effort of the system is to produce achievers of name, of fame, of all kinds of ambitions. And during this process, obviously they have to struggle. because they have to compete with each other, compete with so many people around. And then that leads to a conflict with people around them. This actually process of learning and through this system destroys the complete joy that they should be having through learning. Tagore says, the widest road leading to the solution of all problems is education. But look what we are getting through this education. What kind of system we are having. We are having a system that is actually putting us in conflict with everybody around us. And that in process, we are actually losing all the natural gifts of the God, of coexistence. And that process is actually destroying joy, friendliness. And it seems everybody is fighting in this world for existence, for survival, for achieving their ambitions. Education up to now has been actually goal-oriented. What you are learning is not actually important. What is important is examination. That will come after a year, 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year, or 2 years in professional courses. That is more important. Learning is not important. It makes the future important more than the present. And it sacrifices the present for the future. The present day education is making the future more important than the present. And that becomes our lifestyle also. Now this, whatever experiences we are having in our schools, colleges, of thinking and worrying about only the future and not living and enjoying what we are having around us and what kind of experiences we should be having in our life at different stages. And that thing is transferred not only at school or college, but it transferred to our lifestyle also. We become similar kind of people in our personal lives also. You are sacrificing everything that you have in the present for some bright future, something which is not present. And it creates a tremendous emptiness in our lives. Now the question lies here is about both justice and whether this current school curriculum timetabling is helping us, our pupils, our students, in living a meaningful life. Here I would like to go back to the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita, it is one of the most revered book in the world, but I believe it is one book which highlights the rule of and role of rational argument like none of the other books in the world. It is the only book that gives you all the answers through a very rational argument. In this book, the beauty is that there is a unique dialogue between a teacher and a student. The whole book is a gist of knowledge for the human race. The dialogue between the teacher, the Krishna, and Arjuna, his student. How Krishna motivates Arjuna, a warrior unwilling to fight a war. This entire dialogue actually gives us a great example of a true teacher and a true leader. It teaches us the art of life and the art of true leadership. How Krishna persuades a reluctant Arjuna through rational arguments and negotiations, and finally that reluctant Arjuna gets the right kind of mindset, and the teacher's words motivates him so much that he agrees, and at the end he says, I will do as my mentor says, as my teacher say. So as I mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, talks about art of life, art of true leadership. And art of life, when I say, that means life, and life starts with each individual's personal growth, personal surroundings. And our life starts with self. And that is why self-knowledge is very important. That is why self-knowledge is very important. Again, I'll ask each of you, I would like to get a little response from you, that what do you think are the major ills of our present education system? What are you your responses. Please give your responses in the chat box. What do you think are the main biggest ills of our education system that we are having today? You may write your responses in the chat box, sir.
Yes, sir. I'll read it for you, sir, once they come.
Okay.
Sir, policy and structure and syllabi framework.
Oh yeah, sure.
Lack of value inculcation.
Hmm.
I'm waiting for more, sir. People are writing.
Yes, yes.
Mr. M.V. Bhanu has written policy and structure. Then Monica had written lack of
Domination.
value inculcation.
Yes.
Tanisha says domination.
Okay.
Then
Rote
Pooja
learning.
says rote learning.
That's right. So I believe, I think these are something which, certain areas which we all feel that there are so many ills in our education system, and they are all interrelated. Whether it is rote learning or lack of value education or vomiting out in exams. So when you say vomiting out in exam, basically, let us see let us understand what are the basic challenges and limitations our system is putting in front of us. The first, I believe, is our present education system pattern. It is based on a very rigid examination system. It is based on a very rigid examination system. And again, I'll take you to a picture. This picture again is from Shantiniketan. This is a classroom setting there. This is a classroom setting in Shantiniketan, and you can see certain rooms in the background. They are all rooms for the practical classes where labs and other things are organized there. But you can see in the entire picture there are big trees, and each tree, a big tree is having a similar kind of a classroom setup before that. And the evaluation is also like that only. They say we are not following rigid examination system. So now I'm coming back to our challenges. The evaluation system. What we believe is in our education system now, why are we having this rigid kind of system of evaluation, rigid kind of examination system, where one exam is held at the end of 6 months or 1 year? Can't we have a system where every day, every hour, observation by the teachers, their remarks throughout the year will decide whether a student moves forward to another level or not? I should have only 2 hours exam at the end of 6 months or 1 year. I believe we need to rethink about this system. We declare some people pass and some people fail after that kind of 2 hours exam, 3 hours exams. Have we ever wondered this kind of exam? It damages the psychology of the person. Only an examination at the end of a semester or a year decides the intelligence or the ability of a person. Do you think this is a fair system? Such kind of a system, what it produces a sense of inferiority or superiority. Those who are declared pass, they are made to feel they're very good, they're superior than others. And those who, due to certain reasons are not very able to pass that particular 2 hours or 3 hours exam, they're made to feel that they're inferior, they're not good for anything. They are no good. They're good for nothing type of people. When we tell a student you get 2 marks out of 10 or you get 20, 30, 40 marks out of 100, basically what message we are giving to him? What have you ever wondered what kind of message we are giving to him? What we make him feel? No, wo sochega, I am good for nothing. And no, I have no talent, I have no capability. And he may wish, इससे अच्छा तो खत्म ही हो जाए यार, या तो पढ़ाई छोड़ दो या जिंदगी छोड़ दो, मुझे जीने का हक नहीं. I'm a burden on this planet. Do you think such a child will have any self-esteem left when you make him feel that you are good for nothing? Here I, again, coming back to my learned friends in the group today, I would like to ask, please, with all humility, I want to ask. I'm sure all of you are very learned people. You must have passed hundreds of exams in your life as a professional. But here I'm going to ask you a question. Have you ever failed in any exam in your life? Have you ever failed in any exam in your life? You can write yes or no in your chat boxes. I'm sure 99.9%, rather everybody has passed all kinds of exams that you've gone through. I'm sure everybody present in this group has gone through all kinds of exams and they have passed all kinds of exams. But I also know of great people, great learned people, with, who have not had this kind of blessing that we have had in our careers, in our educational journey. Okay, you must have heard of J.K. Rowling. I'm sure you must have heard of J.K. Rowling. Once she was called to deliver a lecture. I was actually going through the, some of the writings of Rowling also. But once I read that she was rejected by n number of publishers before her books were published. And once she became J.K. Rowling, that she is known today, she was called to deliver a lecture at Howard University. Howard University has a tradition of inviting, great achievers in their annual day function, and then they are requested, those achievers are requested to deliver a 20 minutes lecture, only 20 minutes lecture to their students there. So when J.K. Rowling was called for delivering her 20 minutes message to the students of the Harvard University, you know what topic she chose for her address of 20 minutes? She chose the topic as benefits of failure. She said, here I am today amongst the best of the brains in the world. Perhaps they have passed every exam in their life and must have learned the best lessons in their lives. But today, I'm going to share with you what kind of learning you might have missed, and that is learning from failure. So what followed was, after this her speech, what followed was one of the best applaud received by a speaker in Howard University, and a great interactive session with her. So the basic aim of meaningful education should be to help the student identify, rather than just make him, give him a stigma or a nomenclature of pass or failure. The aim of education should be to help the child identify his hidden talents, his capabilities, his strengths in life. But does our education system do that? We need to replace this examination system. As some of you have mentioned that there are so many ills, and examination system is one of the major challenges that we are facing. We need to replace this with a more robust system of education, regular monitoring, where every day or continuously these students are interacting with the teachers, and then they are monitoring their progress, their participation in the various kind of activities, their inputs during the process of learning, rather than having it an 6 monthly exam and then giving them a grade of 90% or 20% or 30%. So each observation by the teacher during that learning process of 6 months or 1 year should be more important than 2 hours or 3 hours of exam. So, but this again, takes us to a challenge, and that challenge is the change in the role of the teacher, because the teacher also has to go through a change in the role. Earlier, the teacher had a great role, in learning process of the students, because he knows he has passed all the exams, and he was supposed to, and he rather is supposed to be having all kinds of information available with him. And he also, supposed to be person who has accumulated all kinds of knowledge in his or her respective subject. But don't you think that things are changing now? The situation is changing now. Now we need to adapt to the changing environment also. And this is a challenge actually. The situation changes around us, but our responses remain same, old ones. Now the explosion of knowledge is so vast and so fast and so tremendous that you cannot write a book. Especially in case of sciences, any subjects on science, you cannot write a book nowadays, because by the time your book is ready and it comes in the market or in the learning arena, it becomes out of date. New facts, new discoveries are taking place so fast. And we are nowadays actually depending on more articles, journals, periodicals, and not on books. So kindly remember, today's teacher was trained or taught, educated about 20 years, 30 years back. And during this period, things have changed very fast, very fast. And the role of the teacher also has to change, you see. Earlier, he was supposed to be the sole source of knowledge. But the role has changed now. It is going to be the role of a facilitator. He has to now transform himself from a knowledge giver, only sole source of knowledge giver, to a facilitator, a guide. And we need to realize that the role of teacher is not only going to be transformed from a knowledge giver or a sharer, only source of knowledge giver, knowledge sharer. He has to learn this art of guiding and facilitating the information, the learning process, where he might be, in the future, in times to come, we have to adapt ourselves to a kind of a role where we'll be not only facilitating the learning, but also guiding him to the deeper learning processes, where we may be telling, okay, this is the kind of literature, this is the kind of material that we are going to get, from which kind of source we are going to get it, from library or internet, from other relevant sources. So a teacher has another role thing that teacher has to be very mindful is that a teacher needs to be very, very passionate about his subject. Then only he can give the complete guidance, complete facilitation process, and complete knowledge to the students if he is a master of his subject. And for that, he needs to be very passionate about subject. So that's another thing. One is passion for the subject, another is the compassion for the student. He has to be having compassion for the student also. When I say compassion for the student, that means he should be as concerned about the learning process and the clarity of his subject, while sharing is that the interest of the student is maintained in his learning process. For a teacher, students should feel, मेरे को एक मैं शायर तो नहीं हूँ, बट कुछ लाइनें आपके साथ शेयर करूंगा. एक अच्छे शायर ने लिखा है कि जी लगे आपका ऐसा कि कभी जी न भरे, दिल लगाकर गर सुने आप फसाना दिल का. यानी कि अगर ऐसा एनवायरनमेंट क्रिएट किया जाए जिसके अंदर लर्निंग प्रोसेस जो है आपका दिल लगाने जैसा हो जाए, ऐसा हो जाए कि आपको कंपैशन और पैशन दोनों आपका जो बड़ा विजिबल हो जाए, दिखाई दे लर्नर को. सो here again I will go back to Rabindranath Tagore. No, in a letter to Rabindranath Tagore, in a letter to Mahatma Gandhi by Tagore, he says, my educational experiments at Shanti Niketan, he compares his educational experiments at Shanti Niketan to a vessel carrying the cargo of his life's best treasure. He is trying to tell us that his best experiences he is putting in learning processes in the Shanti Niketan campus there. So Tagore certainly was one of the very few who had foreseen the emergence of a global community and the need to educate students in a manner where they not only learn to appreciate their own culture, but they would also be able to identify with people who are from different cultures, different backgrounds. So, unfortunately, we find that no, his ideas of education are often neglected. Nowadays, private institutions have come up. There are thousands of engineering and private colleges have come up in all parts of India, but they are more focused on profit alone, abandoning the idea of teaching students to help create a dialogical world that is based on sympathy, that is based on human values, respect, mutuality, which actually Tagore was so successfully educating. Tagore, when I say Tagore was educating, means in his institution of Shanti Niketan, with that he established, which he was trying to educate so many citizens of Indian democracy. Indian democracy became a nursery for learners, for great many thinkers. For him, for Tagore, real education helped unfold the students what they already know by means of engaging in a genuine dialogue with them. Students were encouraged to deliberate about their life's decisions and to take the initiative in organizing meetings. That means interactive sessions were encouraged there, rather than one person taking the leading role. Teacher is always there. Teacher should always be there around us. But at the same time, we need to create an atmosphere where the learning is happening through their experiences of sharing also. So let us move now what meaningfulness and school curriculum has to do with each other. School curriculum, the first thing is we need to create a scenario to make school life more meaningful, and it requires that rethinking the traditional academic curriculum of discrete subjects and traditional way in which it is timetabled. It means beginning further back. We need to reconsider what schools stand for in light of these aims. If, as has been argued, one of the aims of education should be to equip learners for a life which both seems to them and is meaningful, which both seems to them, which they also find meaning in the process also, and which they can transfer in their real life experience also. So it should be initiated in each one of their schools' activity, inside, outside the classroom, both. And the first thing that I believe here is self-realization, creating the awareness among the students. What is student is. We need to make them aware what are your capabilities. As a student, we need to make him aware about his own strengths, about his own immense potentials, which he may be aware or may not be aware of his own talents. The role of the teacher will be to take him to the place where he gets this kind of awareness. Every child has got gifted qualities, which the teachers need to work on. Now the teacher's role is more challenging here. His role is to make sure that every child is given that kind of understanding, is exposed to learn about his own strengths and weaknesses for his overall development. Spiritualism is also one part of that. Spiritualism is something which is basic of our society, of our culture. So we cannot leave it just for the sake of modernity. But spiritualism here means self-realization about your own self. And the relation between the spiritualization, self-realization should be an aim of education also. Manifestation of personality depends upon this self-realization and spiritual knowledge of the individual. That means if the person is aware what he is, what kind of person he is, then he will definitely have more.
Sir, I think Major Saab's connection has gone. Bhalla Saab? Major Pradeep, can you hear me?
सर वो म्यूट हो गए लगता है जी सिर्फ विकास जी वो म्यूट हो गए
Major Sahab, please check your audio. Major Sahab.
हाँ जी हाँ जी. Can you see me now? Can you
Yes,
see the
sir.
screen?
Yes, sir.
Screen is okay. Okay, thank you. Right. So next was, where did I finish last, sir? If you have missed anything, Vikas ji?
You have been talking about this, sir, perceptions of
Self-realization?
Self-realization, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. I thought I might have missed something. Sorry. Okay. So now next we are moving to, something which is called identifying with people around us. Actually, what happens is we are completely committed to, one dimension of our intelligence. That is intellect. Intelligence, intellect, बुद्धि, अक्ल. हम सिर्फ मार्क्स को स्कोर करने को उसी को मानते हैं कि कौन ज़्यादा इंटेलिजेंट है, उसी को हम सारी अपनी लाइफ का फोकस बना रखा है. Kindly remember, our intelligence, that so kind of intellect is based on the thoughts, and thoughts happen with the data that is gathered by our five senses. All our five senses are actually putting a lot of information into our thoughts. But remember, this is very limited, because our thoughts are based on the kind of data that we have accumulated through our various exposures to different kind of informations. And the nature of data is also only related to survival of ourselves in this life. If you're wanting to know the life itself, then these instruments of data, collections of these instruments of thought-based perceptions, they may not be very handy to us. Now again, for example, if a man is sitting along an owl, and the argument is what is light and what is darkness. And man and an owl are sitting and they are arguing what is light and what is darkness. And it becomes an endless argument. And who do you think is right about light and darkness? You can give a response, a man or an owl. Okay, if you want to give, you can respond in the chat box also. What do you think is the, both? So yeah, some people said both, Tanisha. So I can understand that. Very true. So if see, actually what happens is, if you think both, that means you are either very diplomatic or you have had a very happy married life. Because what happens is you get to use to put yourself in pleasing situations, please everybody. Now the point here actually is what man sees or what an owl sees. That is not the point here. The point here is that nature has opened up our sense perception, and as is necessary for survival also. Both of our both owl and man are having their own sense perception, and based on that only they are making their judgments. So nature has given us the sense perception, and it is important for our survival also. Accordingly, it has opened up survival of sense of survival for different creatures also. But if the survival is all that we're seeking, then I believe we are actually okay with that, because this is what the question is. If we are thinking all five senses should be giving us a sense of survival, that means yes, we are happy with that. But once we have it, we are a human being now. We are not a creature who doesn't have a brain. It doesn't have that God's special creation tag on us. So we are this God's special creation. So if we are come as a human being, then survival is not only good enough. Survival is not what we are looking at. Survival is maybe a question only for the other creatures, but for human beings, survival is not the only question. So now let us think about a situation. If your stomach is empty and it only wants one thing, जब हमारे को भूख लगी होती है तो हमें क्या चाहिए होता है? खाना. खाना मिल गया वी आर सेटिस्फाइड। खाना मिल गया तो हमारी भूख शांत हो गई। जब खाना मिल गया, भूख शांत हो गई, उसके बाद हमें खाने की चिंता नहीं होती है। उसके बाद हम बहुत सारा और करना चाहते हैं, हम बड़े से बड़े काम करना चाहते हैं। वी वांट टू अचीव एवरीथिंग एल्स इन द पॉसिबल इन द वर्ल्ड। सो दैट मीन्स survival is not the only question for human beings. If we are human beings and then survival is not the only question, then we want more and more and more, and then that is an endless pursuit. So somewhere a human being is seeking limitless expansion. That is why we want to explore everything possible in the world. So human beings are supposed to pursue endless expansion, endless pursuits, but trying to do with the physical needs, and physical reach is having limitations. The desire is fantastic, the desire to achieve everything is fantastic, but the method is, I believe, somewhere faulty. We need to understand that the moment we try to identify ourselves with other people around us, maybe even our father, maybe our teacher, maybe our neighbor or a friend, the moment we try to identify with others, we are actually putting limitations on our imagination. We are trying to limit our imagination that, okay, so and so, we are trying to be Amitabh Bachchan, we are trying to be Mahatma Gandhi, we are trying to be so and so, then we are putting our limitations to that. Why should human beings do that? We need to understand that for a meaningful life, God has given us the limitless possibilities. So why should we limit those possibilities by identifying with particular pictures of individuals or achievers? So don't identify anything with anything. Try to have limitless possibilities. Explore those limitless possibilities. Then only we can have something which God has desired us to do. Now let us try to understand what is the purpose of this life then, if that be the case. We must explain to the student that what is the purpose of his life. How he can make the best of this gift given by God to us, a beautiful experience. I'm reminded of John Milton. John Milton, in his poem On His Blindness, he says, I am guilty. He is very sad. He feels that I cannot do what God wanted me to do. He laments the fact that he is unable to do his duty as a poet. Actually, he's putting his limits there. He is feeling guilty. But human beings, we are having things fixing around us. He says he is supposed to write great poems, but because of his blindness, he is not able to do that. That means he is not clear about his role in his life, his own capabilities, his own purpose of life. So he feels that my talent will go wasted, and he begs for corrective action. Thus, we must make the child aware about the purpose of his life. So our education system should be such that enables him to identify what purpose of life of a good human being is. So in other words, we need to make him aware of his strengths, his special talents, and also at the same time identify what he can do to make this world a better place. Make this experience of life not only for himself but for people around him also in a much better conditions. His society, his mankind, for a noble intent. So here I am again reminded of a beautiful line by Iqbal. He says, "O Ghafil Afghan, apni khudi pehchan." He says, "O Ghafil Afghan, apni khudi pehchan." So Iqbal says, "Oh, poor fellow, know yourself, know your strengths, know your hidden talents, know your hidden, strengths which makes you unique creature. You are a special creature of the God. and you should know how to live a happy life. You should know how to make others, happy and satisfied in their lives through your actions if possible. How you can help somebody to live a better life. You should not be thinking about only your own concerns. So remember, we believe that by fixing outside means by fixing the things around us, everything is going to be good. Like in last 150 years, we have seen science and technology has made so much of progress. We have fixed too many things in the world around us. We have made life very comfortable around us. And I think if we keep on doing like this, somehow we will become more of a mechanical than human beings. And yes, that has brought us a lot of conveniences, comforts in our lives every day. And we are maybe one of the most comfortable generations of humans ever. How many of you agree with this, that we are the most comfortable generation of human race ever? You may give your responses in chat box. Do you think we are the most comfortable generation of human race ever? Okay, some yes, some no. Yes, no also. I am of class 9. Okay, somebody says I am of class 9, Tanisha. Okay. So you are in the most comfortable world, around you. Okay, so that most of the people say yes, we are one of the most comfortable generation of the human race. We have some complaints, still we human beings are never satisfied in our lives. So thanks for your responses. But at the same time, historically we feel that yes, we are one of the most comfortable generations of our human race.
Excuse me, Pradeep ji, excuse me. We have just 5 minutes to go.
Oh my God. I think I still have a lot of things to share. If you don't, are you going to, because, okay, I'll try to go through a little faster. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'll try
We have to finish at 7:05. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for reminding. Actually, yes, through the flow of the things, sometimes overlook the things. So, but I can definitely say with one thing, that we may be the most comfortable generation of the human race, but we definitely are not most joyful generation of the human race. We certainly are not most blessed generation of our planet. We certainly are not most loving generation of our human race. No, because we keep complaining all around us. Every day we are having the same sort of complaints about this or that, like never before. Because this is how actually human race has become self-centered, and the entire focus is your own personal comfort. So since Bala Sahab has asked me to be little faster in my responses, so I try to skip certain things here and move on to another important part that I wanted to share with you. That another important aspect of educational meaningfulness of life is another important thing is humility. We must teach humility to our students. Devise a mechanism, system where we are able to take our students to the basic human qualities. पंजाबी में कहते हैं ना, मैनू मारना पैंदा है. So एक बड़ा अच्छा पोएट ने लिखा है कि मैनू मार मुकावे जेड़ा साफ करे जो दिल दा वेड़ा, कट दे दिलों गुरूर अखियां खोल जरा, रब नहीं बसदा दूर अखियां खोल जरा, दिल दियां वागां मोड़ जे कोई, दिल दियां वागां मोड़ जे कोई, जेड़ा कोई ऐसा संत मिले रब नाल रूह नूं जोड़ दे जेड़ा. So friends, now I am coming to that few suggestions which I believe I want to share with you on the I'm just skipping through this. Yeah. Okay. So these are the few things I thought I must share where we can have a discussion or your inputs also. that what kind of a system we should have for having a meaningfulness in our lives through our education. The first thing is, I believe we need to change our, curriculum, reshape into 5 dimensions. First is informative. Subjects like history, geography, and all these subjects, they can be, dealt not only in the classrooms through one-to-one interaction. They can be taught through computers, through online classes, through, rather than spending so much of time. And especially in case of history, I again want to have, little radical point of view, and that is, see what kind of history we are teaching our students. We are teaching them horrible nightmares. Genghis Khan, Timur Lane, Nadir Shah, Aurangzeb, Adolf Hitler, or Alexander. Tell me, are these people the history of? They are actually nightmares of humanity. What we are actually doing is we are telling them these kind of people are there, and they are the heroes of history. They are not heroes. They are actually nightmares. They are something, they have killed people just for their own, personal satisfaction, or, decimating the humanity for their personal honor, I believe. We need to devise a system where we teach history of sharing and explaining. If we have to share and explain about humanity, let us give more exposure to Gautam Buddha, Guru Nanak, Socrates, Lao, Zhu, or Swami Dayanand Saraswati. Or if we had to teach about mystics, then Swami Vivekananda, Krishnamurti, APJ Kalam, so Vikram Sarabhai, Einstein. Great poets like Kalidas, Whitman, Umar Khayyam, Valmiki. Great figures like Tolstoy, Gorky, Dostoevsky, Rabindranath Tagore, Munshi Premchand, Mahatma Gandhi, Ramdari. I mean, we are actually, how much content is there on these people in our books? History is full of all these killers of society, all the killers of humanity. And these kind of people are given references. I believe we need to change that. And secondly, another thing is informative part, that apart from the mother tongue, we must make sure that everybody learns at least one more language. If international language, yes, English is one of the most spoken English languages. And apart from that, we can have local mother tongue and then national language also. And then we should stop glorifying these killers in our history. We have to make future generation completely aware that yes, there was. We can't ignore these names. We can only include these names in what do you call that, footnotes or in appendixes, rather than giving them this kind of. Second part now here is science subjects. We need to
Major Sir, please unmute yourself. I have muted everybody. Major Sir, unmute yourself. Major Sir, unmute yourself. Yes.
हो गया अन कर दिया. So again, we for science subjects we can use computers, use more of technical gadgetry, I'll say, for technical education. And then what is another thing that is missing in our present day education system is that is art of living. We are not actually giving them exposure on art of living. And art of living, that is one thing is very important, that we need to make our students aware of the importance of sense of humor also. Students are coming to classrooms, they are given that kind of dry look and the environment where they feel.
That's why we have to take two, three questions also, please. We are running out of time, so if you can
right, sir. Okay,
and conclude,
so,
please.
Okay, thank you, sir. Art and creativity. So I think I'll have to rush it. Art of meditation. These are few things. I know these are all discussed in your previous sessions also. So this is something I thought I'll share in this session with you, basically evaluation system, and then the knowing yourself, exposing them to various kinds of different learning experiences, and finally role of parents again cannot be, although we as a teacher not have much to do, but I believe that is one of the strongest pillars of learning is at home also. And here, character development. So friends, this is only 1.5 minute video that I'm going to share with you, Dr. Saab.
Okay.
It is actually again, it's only 1.5 minute. This is again, I will share the reason for sharing this later once you've gone through. Kindly. Okay. Can you hear it?
No, sir. It's not started yet.
Can you hear now?
Little bit, not much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Bhalla. This is here I would take your.
Thank you.
I would like to thank you for your platform, and this is here I would like to finish my presentation. So now we can have a discussion if you are.
Thank you.
This was a session this was a small video of Bangladesh students studying in Shanti Niketan. They had given us a little clip of this. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll stop sharing.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Pradeep ji, for giving you your insights regarding our education system. Though there are a number of hitches in our system that we need to cure from time to time. You have rightly said that education is learning from failures. But today we are in the process of glorifying the small success stories of the children. If a student get 95.8% marks and the parent says, "Oh, your counterpart has got 98.9%, so you don't have a right to live." So I have an example in Punjab where a student get 95% and his father says that isto changa ta tu fail hi ho janda. So such kind of situations we are creating, and that son has suicide. So this is the irony of our educational system. We have to stop this nonsense of giving marks to the students that 98%, 91%, 89%, 85%. We have to come some kind of grades where the students' equality is there. So it is totally nonsense that we are glorifying the student of 99% and just de-glorifying the student who has got the 95% marks. So this is the system we need to change. So education is not getting the highest score, but education is that you have to develop the scores. You have to develop something for the society. Then only. Now I am giving you an example in Punjab state, sir. Only 1 or 2 examination of one board was held, and most of the students got 98%, 99%, and the teachers and principals are glorifying it. But the Central Board of Secondary Education in students failed to get much of the marks. And I think the scenario which is going to develop, the CBSE student may not get, even a single student of the CBSE may not get any admission in the reputed colleges of Punjab. So the students who appeared in the full examination, they are not going to get admission, and the student who had just appeared in the 1 or 2 examinations, they are going to get admissions. So we have to now develop, the universities must think now that we must conduct the entrance examination immediately online, so that these kind of marks differentiation which has been developed by glorifying the student, giving full marks to the students in the internal assessment has been developed, that you have to stop. So you have rightly said that character development is one of the part where we must think in. Parents and the teachers must play a role in it. So I have requested Mr. Jagdish Khatri ji. Mr. Jagdish Khatri, can you hear me? Mr. Jagdish Khatri, kindly unmute yourself and say a few words. Mr. Jagdish Khatri is a very renowned management consultant also, and retired as a director of many worked in the management institutes. Mr. Jagdish Khatri, are you listening me?
I think he's lost his connection, so let me check.
Okay, okay. Mr. Kamal Vora. Mr. Kamal Vora is a very renowned person in the field of taxation. Mr. Kamal Vora, your comments. Unmute yourself. Mr. Kamal. Yes, unmute karo sir apne aap nu pehla. Unmute yourself.
Okay, sir.
Yes. Yes, Kamal ji.
Hello.
Kamal ji, your comment, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yes,
Please
Kamal
comment.
ji, I think
Hello. Good evening to all of you.
your voice is not coming, sir.
Hello.
हाँ जी बोलो सर, अभी we can hear you.
Yes, Nirpal Singh ji, you want to say something?
Hello.
I think Mr. Kamal is not able to unmute. So thank you, Pradeep ji, because we are running short of time. We have to finish exactly at 7 now. We are late. So I request to Dr. Vikas Deep ji to conclude and say thanks to our participants and
Right.
of course,
Right.
Pradeep ji.
Right. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Major Pradeep, for a very wonderful and insightful session. In fact, I would like to share, like, this is the 7th session in this series, and one of the things which is evolving most, what is the most important takeaway for me is, like you said, like the changing role of teacher, where you said, like, the teacher has to be passionate about his subject and he has to have compassion about the students. I think that's a very important takeaway. Like, as long as we do not have passion or we do not have compassion for our students, it will like, we cannot make our education meaningful. And if these two characteristics are developed in us, I think we can bring a major change in our education system. Thank you so much, sir. Like, there are a lot of learnings, you talked about perception. We liked your story of comparing owl and human being. Like, for both of them, the light and darkness, that is carries a different meaning. So that's a wonderful insight. I hope, like, we wanted to listen you more and more. Like, we know, like, you had a lot of content, and we are sorry, like, we apologize, we are missing the important things, but there are certain time constraints, because the other participants, those who are on the this platform, they have other engagements also, they have other meetings, and that is why, like, we need to uh, beg a pardon. And like, we are highly thankful to the participants, like those who are joining every day on in these sessions, those who are very, like, I'll say, passionate and compassionate about making this education meaningful. Everybody, thank you. Like, there are so many guests, Mr. Gulati, Madam Mahindra Kol Garewal, other guests, Mr. Kamal Vora, the other guests, those in the platform. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, all participants. And thanks, a lot of thanks to our viewers on the Facebook. Like, many viewers are there on the Facebook. I'm sure, like, the numbers is in thousands, maybe, like, on my Facebook, then Dr. Ashwini Bhalla's Facebook, then Major Saab, your Facebook. A lot of people are connected to us, and I hope like this session has given us a new insight for the education. Thank you very much once again. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you, Pradeep ji, once again.
Thank you very much, PCMA, Dr. Bhalla and Dr. Vikas Deep. and all the participants for so much of support during the process. So though you have been very cooperative and very supportive in the learning process. Thank you very much. It has been learning experience for me also. Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you. Okay, Vikas ji, you can.
Thank you, sir. Right, sir.
Okay.